Welcome to this Business Central Sales Order Entry presentation. I'm Ken Sabahar, and I'm going to lead you through this presentation today. We're going to basically divide this into two parts. First, we're going to walk through a typical sales order entry process. And we're going to do it at a pace that mimics what an experienced Business Central user would look like. And how long that would take. And then afterward, we're going to go through the same process again, except we'll take a lot more time talking about some of the features and functionality that we've seen during the quick entry of the sales order. So I'm going to begin by pulling up a new purchase order that we received from our customer Canon Group. You can see I've got purchase order P99654. They've got their ship to address here as 1200 Peachtree Drive. Mindy Martin is placing this order. They want it shipped via UPS ground. Here's the items and the quantities they're looking for, a total dollar amount, and signature authorized by Mindy. So what I'm going to do, I'll have to imagine that I have dual monitors here. So what I'm going to do is go into Business Central. And I'm going to hit the new sales order button to create a new sales order. I'm going to hit enter to assign the next order number. I'm going to type in part of the customer's name to find Canon Group. I'm going to select who is the buyer on this. This was Mindy. So we're going to pick Mindy as the sell to contact. Yes. Do you want to change the bill to contact? No, let's not change that on here. Now I'm going to enter my purchase order number. I see that it's selected their primary ship to address code of 30, which is Main Street. But as you remember, I was shipping to 1200 Peachtree Drive. UPS ground is their default shipping terms. They would like this delivered by the 26th there. So now I'm going to go down to the lines. I'm going to search for the first item they're looking for here, which is this SL action clamp 302 hex head. So I'm just going to type in 302. It's a quick way of searching through here. I found that item there. It gives me a warning about a date message here. I'm going to fill in my quantity. Then they want a 304 also. So we're going to select 5 of those as well. So I've got those items on there. I'm going to scroll down 155.65. That matches the total on the purchase order. I'm going to go into attachments here, and I'm actually attach a copy of that purchase order to this order here. So I'm going to find a copy of that PO. I forget where I placed that purchase order. Bear with me for a moment here. I'm going to go find that. I always forget where I put things. So here we go. Took a little longer there to find that PO. I've now got that attached. Next step. I see I have some notifications here. I'm just going to check these notifications. Okay, they have recurring sales lines. Do you want to insert them? No. And just notifying me they do have an overdue balance. So I'm going to close those. I will go back to here. I'll release the order, which changes my status to released. And the final thing I need to do is email an order confirmation to Mindy and team. And so you see here, I've got the body of the email. I've got a copy of the purchase order attached here as a PDF. Here's my order total. And we're going to go back here and go ahead and send that email. And that concludes the sales order entry process. Now, let's take a look. Let's go back through this again, take a little bit deeper dive. So the first thing I did was I hit this action here to create a new sales order. It's kind of a quick way to enter a new order. Now, if I wanted to, I could have started on the sales order list page. So this is showing me a list of all of my outstanding sales orders that we have out there right now. And then from here, I could just click on the new button to create a new sales order. Now, what I did quickly here is I hit tab to auto assign the next available sales order number in a sequential series. I just want to point out here that you can have multiple order numbering series here. So if you have different types of sales orders and you want to assign a different prefix or just a different numeric sequence to those orders, you can set up relationship between different number series and then have the user select which number series they'd like to assign to that order. That could even allow for the manual assignment of order numbers. So my next one is here. Now, remember, the next thing I did was I just started typing in my customer's name into the customer number field. That's because we have cross-field search here. So as I type in anything, it's looking at contents of all of the fields that I have displayed here. I can go to the full list and do even a more advanced search across any field on the customer record. As soon as I find it, right, I could have multiple. If I just type CA, I have multiple customers here. I do find Canon groups, so I can just select that and pull them in. As I mentioned on the Mindy Martin, when I changed the contact name, this is part of the built-in CRM system inside Business Central. It comes with the standard Essentials license or premium license. And it'll, at a basics, it allows you to store an unlimited number of individual contacts with their own email addresses, cell phone numbers, profile information, job titles or positions, comments, interactions. It also has full sales team management, to-dos, opportunities, sales campaigns as well that integrate with pricing. So that's all built in there. We'll again pick Mindy as our contact. You'll notice here I do have an option to actually change Mindy to be the bill to contact. So maybe if I want the invoice to get sent directly to Mindy, I could change that here. If I don't, it'll go just to Canon Group's standard bill to contact. This field here, external document number, this is typically where I put, I'll put the purchase order number in here. On ship to, you'll notice I did change to select. So for each customer, you can assign a default ship to address that's different from the customer address. In this case, it's this Main Street address here in Rolling Meadows. I did change it to Peachtree, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. One other thing here, you'll note that I do have the ability to specify a custom address. This would be applicable if I was, for example, going to be drop shipping these items to Canon Group's customers. So this would allow me to enter Canon Group's customers in here, or maybe it's a one-time project site where we have a special project going on. The shipping agent, shipping service, payment terms codes, these are all default values from the customer. They can be changed on an order by order basis. The requested delivery date, any date field inside of Business Central, I have a little calendar look up here so I can pick different dates, look across different months. Say this Friday is the 26th. Okay. Now, as we go down to the lines, again, I have cross-field search, so I could either type in part of my item number. In this case, it pulls up SL action clamp, or I can just type action clamp, right? If I have a bunch of different action clamps out there and I want to look at the list of those and select one off that list, I can do that as well. Okay. Next, I can fill in the quantity here, and you'll notice that my unit price has automatically been defaulted in for me here. Now, let's take a look at the details here. So over on my details, I have fact boxes. This gives me different information. I can look up, like, for example, previous sales shipments and invoices to this customer. Maybe if I want to look up the last time we sold this item to this customer, I can use that to find that information. I also get presented with specific pieces of information about this customer, maybe their phone number, their credit limit, available credit, and other relevant information, as well as item availability and information. So for this item here, you can see that I'm requiring 5 on this order. And then if I look down at availability, we have 421 currently available for inventory. Now, this is actually calculated as quantity on hand less quantity already sitting on outstanding orders. So it truly is an available quantity, not just an on-hand quantity. So I can see this is how many I currently have available that I could sell to this customer. And then lastly, if I go down a little bit more, I've got prices. So it pulled in a price of $19.25. If I click on the sales prices here, you can see all of the prices for this item currently applicable for this customer. In this case, we see we have an all customers price, kind of like a list price that says if they buy it by the pack, they can get these for $200 per pack. Otherwise, I've got a customer specific price set up here that says they pay $19.25 per each. Now, if they purchase at a minimum quantity of 50, that price will get lowered down to $18. So I could maybe use that as an opportunity to upsell them on purchasing some additional units. Again, as I go down here, I find my items, I fill them in, same thing here. Any alerts or warnings you'll get as you're entering the order. You may decide on this particular order for whatever reason that we're going to give these guys an additional discount for whatever reason. You can manually adjust the prices or, on here, permissions pending, of course. But for whatever reason, if you wanted to change a price or add a discount, the user does have the authority, discretion to do that as well. Now, in terms of confirming this and releasing it in the first presentation, what I did was I just hit, let me close these out here. I just hit the release button. Now, instead of maybe allowing any user to automatically release a sales order for shipping, you may want to use the approval request feature. So in this case, instead of just being able to release the sales order, I have to send an approval request. Examples of things where it may require an approval request could be a dollar limit threshold. Hey, any order over $500 has to go through some approval process. Or maybe if the customer's over their credit limit, require the credit manager to approve that order before it can be released. Okay. Orders can be reopened at any time after they're released. There is a reopen function. Just be aware that if I reopen it to make any change to the quantity or dollars on the order, I do have to go through that approval process again or to re-release the order. Okay. Last thing is on the attachments. You'll notice that I did attach a document here. So I can go out here, I can drag and drop a file into this box if I've got that, or I can just do a lookup on my computer to find an available file that I want to attach. Here you can attach an unlimited number of documents of any type of format, assuming that any user they'll have access to these so they can open these files and take a look at them. For example, I could click right here and it's just going to open this file so I can take a look at it. You actually can save if you wanted, for example, let's say an email came in with a couple attachments on it. What a user can do is save the email as a file and then attach that file right to the sales order. There is a feature called email logging that's also available as part of the CRM module, where you can automatically have the system create an interaction anytime an email is received or sent between a contact and a salesperson or purchaser. But the other way to do it is just to take a copy of the email file and attach it here as a document. And then we emailed a copy of the document. So this is using Office 365 and the integrated email delivery functionality. A couple points here. You'll notice that I'm actually sending this to multiple individuals when I'm sending this order confirmation for Canon Group. This is based on the document layout rules that you can set up for each customer. So what you do is you set up a global default that says, here's who we're going to send the order confirmations to. Typically, that's the contact set on the sales order. However, for each document type, you can go into each customer and say, you know what, for order confirmations, I want it to go to person A, B, and C, but invoices go to person B and D. So you can create different combinations. You can also define the message here as part of a template so that every time you send an order confirmation or a quote document or an invoice or a return authorization, you can embed a nice professional message here for all of your customers, and you're not relying on each person to remember to put everything that they need to in there. And then lastly, you can attach not only the order document or invoice document, whatever I'm sending, you can also add files here. So maybe you want to attach a catalog or some file specifications or a picture of the item or something else that the customer requested. I can send that there and then click send email and off it goes. Okay. So those are the basics of order entry. A few additional tools that are available that I'd like to go through here as we wrap this up are a few features that you may or may not use as part of this. The first is document archiving. So each sales order is a living document, right, that can be changed over time as maybe an order is developed and approved by a customer. So what we have the ability to do is archive copies of a document. So here I can go in here and I can just say archive document. And I have now basically taken a snapshot of this order, the header information, the lines, everything it is as it exists right now. I can go back and at any time I make a change, maybe I change the payment terms here to net 7 days. I can go back home, I can make another archived copy of this document, right? So what that does is it creates records in the sales order archive. At any point in the future, I can go revert to a previously archived version, or I can use, maybe if I'm creating a new order, what I can do is use the copy document feature. So the copy document feature allows me to go basically select either any existing open order, a posted invoice, a posted shipment, or an archived order to create a new order. So I actually could go select, let's say, archived order, right? The one that we just did. Let's go find that one here. So let's sort descending order here or some other order. Let's go date archive. Here we go. This is the last one I just did. Do I want to include the header? Do I want to recalculate the lines? Maybe I don't. I can add that. And what you'll see in this case is it just inserted the 2 lines from that order again because it told me to copy all those lines into this order, right? If I want to delete lines, I can just highlight those lines, select delete to delete those lines, right? So copy document is pretty powerful. It allows you to copy any previously posted document, even from other customers. So if you have another customer that made a similar order, you can copy that whole order in and then adjust it however you need to. The next button here, though, is a little bit different. So this is get recurring sales lines. Oftentimes you'll have customers that will order the same items again and again. What this allows you to do is set up these recurring sales line templates so that the next time they call you and they're going to place an order, instead of having to manually enter all those lines, I can just go select from one of the templates that I've created for this customer. So as an example, maybe they periodically place an order for furniture, right? We sell tools and furniture here at Cronus Dynamics. So they're going to place some furniture orders. I can select from their template. And what that does is that pulls in the items that they typically may purchase when they purchase furniture items. So maybe in this case, I don't need the second line and the fourth line here. I can delete those lines. And then I can change the quantity here. They need 1 lamp, but they only need 2 chairs this time. So I can adjust those on the fly. Current pricing applies based on that. So it's a nice little feature there. Once I'm done with my order, you may want to look at your total estimate, your total, what's my total, what's my expected profitability on this order, right? So on the statistics page, I can see my total amount excluding tax, total including tax, my cost amount here for all of these items, and then an estimated profit. Right. So at this point, this is just estimated. The actual or adjusted profit will be calculated by the system once I actually ship and invoice these items based on my costing method that's assigned. If these are items that maybe need to be purchased, there is functionality that allows me to actually create purchase orders right from the sales order. So that's some nice information. There's also a little bit more advanced planning functionality here. Maybe if I did not have availability for this item, I could use the order promising functionality to have the system calculate what is the soonest date I can get this item shipped to this customer. Or I can go into the planning here and directly create production orders. If I'm a manufacturer, I can go in here and do some advanced planning inside that window. And then under the print button, we printed the or emailed the order confirmation. Some other types of documents that you can print here would be a pro forma invoice. If you wanted to ahead of time send an invoice to your customer before the items have been shipped and invoiced. You may also create a pick instruction document using the sales order data, or even a work order if you have some basic assembly or production type activity that you do, but you're not using the Business Central manufacturing or assembly module. Okay. So the final point I would just like to point out is that any page inside of Business Central, including the sales order entry page, can be personalized or configured so that all of the data elements are displayed exactly as you need them to be. And the difference is with personalization, I am changing things as a user. So any changes that I make with personalization apply to only me. With configuration, that would be done by your system administrator. And what they're doing is they're using the same tool to modify the look and feel of the page, but those changes will be applied to all users of that role. So all of your order processors will have that same look and feel. So just real quickly, how I personalize is I just click up on here and I go into personalize mode. And now you'll notice a slight difference in the page. I can do things like move fields around just by clicking on them and dragging on them to move them. I can also choose to maybe make a field only displayed when I click show more or when collapsed. I can use what's called quick entry so that when the user hits tab, it bounces them to specific fields to make sure that they're populating certain fields. I can also hide a field from being displayed on the page at all. Same functionality goes true for lines. I can just click on a field and move it from one location to another location here, just as easy as that. I can also go up to field here and choose from additional fields that maybe I'm not currently looking at, but I want to add to my page. So I can just drag additional fields to be displayed. Okay. And once I'm done, it saves those changes. And now going forward, it's going to know exactly how we want to see that page. So hope you enjoyed this sales order entry presentation. Thanks for joining.